110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley, along with the champions of talk. This morning's talk champion in Studio 1A, none other than the one and only Cleo Duke-Wright. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good this morning.
Doing good?
Yes, I'm doing good.
Are you all moved in?
I'm moved in
Moved in.
with all my stuff that I gotta put. It's not easy moving. It's not easy moving.
Just when you thought you weren't going to ever move again,
Yes.
you're moving again.
Yes.
It never seems to end. Wow. So you're all moved in. How was the move?
Oh my! It was really emotional,
Mhm.
and I tried to take every book in the world to the new 3-room apartment.
You tried to take everybody. That sounds like you may have left some books behind.
No, well, I didn't leave any books behind. I left a lot of things behind, but I didn't leave a book behind. I gave a lot to Salvins. I gave and took some to Goodwill, and I thought I had given him a lot, but I didn't give him a lot. And everybody kept saying, "Cleo, you are taking too much." But I took all my books, but I left a lot of things behind.
Okay.
That I was sorry I had to leave, but I had to let go of something.
But not the books.
But
No.
not my books. So I thought I had all the books in the apartment, and then someone comes up and says, I have 5 more cases of books. I said, I can't take any more books. So I put it in my little storage bin, which is already full. And I threw away some more. After I moved in, some of the emotion kind of left, and a little of the reality set in. One person told me at church, he said, I was driving into church today, and I was wondering just when you're going to figure out you took too much to that apartment. And I said, believe me, I'm beginning to see it already. So we're getting there. It still looks like a hurricane hit it, but we're getting there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hate moving. I hate moving.
I don't know anyone who loves it. I really.
You know who loves to move? People who can like fly off somewhere, like, you know, go to South Africa, Cape Town, Europe, someplace like that, and then they come back and everything is moved for them.
Oh.
They roll it into their vacation and they have movers come and look at our new apartment.
Oh, you know, if I ever have to do this again, I'm gonna have a little account. Just that little account, just in case I have to move again. I can just call some movers. I didn't know how much I had. I've been there 12 years. I didn't even know how much was in that place.
That's not a bad idea. You know, along with your emergency money, your emergency move money. So that you just call a mover up and say, I need you here tomorrow, and pack up my stuff and go. Be like move ready.
Yes, I think that, my son kept telling me, do you realize how much stuff you have? But I didn't see it. I mean, it didn't look like so much stuff to me. But my son from down south said, don't pack up that house like you packed up. I said, what are you talking about? I said, but they were absolutely right. I had so much stuff. And I didn't want to throw away anything.
Would you consider yourself a pack rat?
No, not like my dad. My dad was definitely, I don't want to be like my dad. My dad had his house full of things, his car full of things. So his car was packed up to the ceiling. And there was a little space for him. Because he used to go tag sailing and all of that stuff. And he'd put things in his car. No, I'm not like that. And then he'd bury things. He'd hide things. So, no, it's not. I'm not like that.
Okay.
But I don't want to be like. I don't want to be like that ever again. So I am getting rid of a lot of things that I did bring with me. So now I got to get rid of them, but not before I look at every book before I let it go.
Now, it must have been difficult for you to pack your books without reading them. Did you pack them without opening them? Did you just put them in the box? Just put them in the box?
I had to have a friend come over and help me do that, because every other minute I was, yes, this is such a wonderful story. I remember, and I'd sit down and I'd read. And then I said, I got to get up, and I got one room almost finished, but I would sit down and read. And my son said, this is not good. So my friend came over and she packed the books in cellophane, which was such a wonderful idea. She packed groups of books in cellophane. And I got to pick up books, not the books in my study room, but pick up books and just set them in the packs of books in the bookcases. Before I opened them, I could see a little bit, but I got more that are not like that. But no, I have to look at and see, because everyone, I said, I want that book, but I got five books of the same thing, So I gotta get.
All right. Well, we need a librarian that does indexing to come over and index all your books and make you a little library card. You have a library. You have like a bookshelf or a little. You have a whole. She has a whole library at her house and all her collection of books. But this morning we have somebody who's going to be joining us. Dynamic individual here in the community, Kamora Harrington. I'm sure most of you out there, particularly those of you who watch us on social media on Facebook, have to know who this dynamic human being is. She's one of my friends. And so she's joining us this morning and going to tell us a little bit about all of the things she has going on in her life. So let's bring her on board and introduce her. Open up her mic. Good morning, Kamara. How are you?
Good morning, Stan. I am wonderful, and I was enjoying that conversation.
Yeah, Cleo has books.
I have books. I have lots of books, and I just rebought a book that I've owned many, many, many times because I keep owning it and giving it away. And I've got a whole bunch of Octavia Butler, just like multiple versions of the same book, so I can keep giving them away. And there's a children's book called Jerome the Word Collector, and I just ordered 6 copies of that book because it's a great book about a young black boy who loves words and loves the precise meaning, making sure that he has the right word. So, yeah, I love books and words.
Books and words. As a kid, I hated to read. It was like, I think I would have rather walk on glass. So I read, but I read only because I need whatever information is on the pages. But I like watching movies. I watch movies over and over again and know all of but I admire people who love to read. My kids love to read. My wife loves to read. But I'm not a reader. I'm sad to say.
Secrets in all the books. There's so many stories in all these books.
I admire people because I love the look of people when they're talking about their books. They go back. You see them leave themselves and they go into the book while they're talking about the book. So, but you have other things going on.
I do. I've got a bunch of stuff. Like you said, whole bunch of folks in the area have an idea of who I am and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And April 22nd and 23rd, I've got volunteer days where people can jump in and be a part of what I'm doing. Because we've got a labyrinth, and tell me where I need to step back and give more backstory. But I've got about an acre and a half on Sterling Street, which is off of Albany Avenue between Albany and Homestead. And I built a labyrinth there 2 years ago with the idea that we would use it for everything the labyrinth is there for contemplation, for meditation, for divination, but also so that different human beings with different thoughts and ideas could come through and walk it together to discuss these different ideas. So on the 22nd, we're doing a Narcan training, and our training is going to happen at the Keeney Park Pond House. But we're doing a harm reduction training from 10 to noon so that everyone in the community can talk about and figure out how to take care of people who are doing drugs in ways that are killing them. But then we're doing a volunteer training where people are going to learn about what we do. So yes, learn about the gardens, learn about how to take care of the land, learn about the cleanup that we're doing, but also learn how to facilitate these walks and facilitate walks where people are coming in from outside to learn about Hartford, to learn about the North End, to learn how they're going to incorporate themselves in our communities. And I need to train facilitators. So it's volunteer training, but once those walks start happening, this is an income stream and a way for community to pay community to talk about and be about community. So you want to come learn how to facilitate a labyrinth walk, Stan?
Yeah. I'll come. Absolutely. I'm here with you. I'm not departed. I was just trying to get your sound together here in the studio. Continue talking.
Okay, so let me continue. You want me to just run off at the mouth?
Yeah, just a little bit more, because I'm setting your volume. That's the kind of stuff you don't tell people.
Okay, all that stuff.
But go ahead.
But we have 2 days of volunteer work, and our volunteer work is thinking and doing. So KCC, Comores Cultural Corner, is a membership owner. It's a membership organization. So people pay different levels. So $50 or $75 or $100 a year, or they can pay a smaller amount monthly. But people pay to be a member so that we can have Sterling Street happen, so that we can do one-on-one consultations with families and people, so that we can do the work that we do as a membership organization, and also create places for members to have members only conversations and start building an understanding of what this cultural humility thing is. And not everyone should pay, not everyone can pay, not everyone wants to pay. And you can come to the thinking and doing days and think and do, and that gives you the membership as well. So that we have this beautiful, huge, wonderful, interesting, and diverse group of people as members. And I want to talk about thinking and doing days, what I just said about people volunteering their time for membership. That's not just people who don't have money. Those are, there are folks who I talk to, and it's interesting because, there's always different ways that people come. Kamora, so why should I pay to be a part of your organization? And when that question comes from people with money, I really like to say, don't. Please come, move a brick, pick up some dirt, plant a plant, come water some plant, come bring some water. But the idea isn't that people with money give money and people without money just do. It's that everyone shows up in the way that makes sense and is appropriate for them on that day at that time. And then we can talk about it. So we're doing the community education, we're doing Narcan, making sure that everyone who needs to know how to administer Narcan knows how to do it, knows that everyone leaves with Narcan. But then after the training, we have a community conversation where we talk about how we feel about Narcan and how we feel about needing, as community members, how we feel about needing to know how to save our brothers and sisters and other community members and family members and friends, because for many people there's a need to do drugs that take away the pain because society can't take care of us. And that's where the work comes in, and we do all three levels, right? So whose responsibility is it? There are people who are dying because they're doing drugs. What's their responsibility to themselves, to their bodies, to their communities, to their families? What is our responsibility as community members? What is our responsibilities as human beings in whatever jobs, in whatever capacity that is? And what's the responsibility of our elected officials?
Those are fabulous touch points. I'm going back in time in my mental Rolodex because talk about Narcan, and now I would imagine this is going to happen along with Brother Mark. Or
no. This one is this is with an organization called The Movement, THE.
Okay, so then I really wanted to jump in and have you, because you do something that's really, really important to the community, and that's the cultural humility and training around that. And it seems to me that, like, now more than ever, that is so desperately needed, because there seems to be such levels of intolerance from people and a lack of caring about other human beings. Because if someone is trying to dull their pain, there's so much said in that statement. One, that they are in pain, what's going on that's causing that pain, and how is society as a whole contributing to that pain, and why are we as people so indifferent to other people's pain? Like, I'm almost at a place where I'm convinced that people just don't care. I mean, they really don't care. They can see you on fire and they walk past you with marshmallows and keep going. And, after they toast their marshmallows, it's really that bad. And the lack.
I think a lot of folks have hit what their capacity of care is because they don't have whatever it takes, the tools, the information, the love to be able to care. I mean, there comes a point where when the need and the pain that you see around you is so great, and your first answer and your second answer on how to fix it, you realize that those aren't the answers, then you walk past the person who's on fire, because what use is it anyway?
That's a pretty dangerous place for society to get to.
When this person told me, and I just couldn't understand it. I almost cried when he told me. He said that he started taking drugs when he was 12 years old. And when I started taking drugs and I went to the street, it was so much better. It was so much better. And I could not understand. And I said to him, what do you mean? It was so much better out in the street than it was in his home. And he really never went back home. He stayed with drugs for the rest of his life. Because what he remembered in his experiences, I assume, at home were that bad, that he never gave up drugs because it was so much better than what he had. And you made a comment, and you were speaking to that, Stan, the need to take drugs because of the pain. And we're out there trying to help them get off of drugs, but they don't have anything if they get rid of drugs. I'm thinking that what you're saying is when they get rid of drugs, what do they have?
Exactly.
What do they remember? What do they have? They have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing if they get rid of drugs. And another person told me that the first time that he took heroin, it was the best feeling he ever had in his entire life. And he spent a lifetime trying to recapture that moment until the day of his death. So how can society and people, I think your program sounds wonderful. I love it. How can society help a person who has no past, who has nothing except drugs? How do we help them?
And that's those the questions, and those are the questions that we sit in, and we sit in that question, or knowing that there's not one answer. And I think, Stan, a whole lot of those places where people have just kind of given up on the conversation is, Cleo, you brought up, what do we do when we take away the drugs? What do we give people? And the safety nets aren't set up there. And who and how do we set up those safety nets, and how do we talk it? And these are the conversations that we don't have enough, and we don't talk about our feelings and values and judgments, because we all have judgments around drugs and drug usage. That judgment might be the person using drugs is bad. That judgment might be drugs need to be legal, because if they were legal, there wouldn't be crime and shame around it. But no matter what, there's judgment. We all have judgment, and cultural humility allows us. It creates a space where we can acknowledge our judgment and where it comes from, not in a way that makes us good and righteous or bad, horrible people for having this judgment, but it acknowledges it, and then allows us to move through it and connect with other people who have different life experiences and different lenses and different judgments to figure out, and then to figure out what our different responsibilities are. Because I personally believe and know that, Cleo, there's a whole bunch of folks who, once you take the drugs away, there's nothing. There's really nothing. So I believe that as society, we owe those people, and we owe them physical, tangible things. You know, we owe them homes that are safe, that have all of the locks on the doors that they need in order to feel safe. We owe them love in all of the ways that love can and can't be provided, and we owe them conversations and an understanding that they were given the fuzzy end of the lollipop. And that's something that I think as a society we're really not comfortable doing.
Hartford just unveiled something. I was in the paper this morning. Love Hartford. And it's they approved the merchandising of this, Love Hartford. Like New England's Rising Star, Hartford has it, Love Hartford. And it's about how people love Hartford. They love to come to Hartford. To me, it should be the other way around. Hartford loves. So we need
my gosh,
we need
that's
we need a
really-
Hartford that loves, and I think that's a little bit of
A
what
Hartford who
what
loves its
Kamara's
people.
alluding
Yes,
to.
yes.
You know,
Yes, because you just did it, Stan. You just
Yes.
did it.
Flip
So when I
that.
worked for True Colors, right, we used to every year we had a big, huge youth conference, and every year the youth conference would have a theme. And I ran the mentoring program for queer youth and out of home care. And there's just a fundamental difference in view and what support needed to look like. And so the conference theme was always a little bit different than the theme that I would have for my program. And so the year that the conference theme was celebrate our so celebrate our heroes, which was basically asking queer youth to look at people who are not themselves, outside of themselves, and celebrate them. And our theme was be your own superhero, create your own superhero. Like, we've got it. And that right there, love Hartford. Okay, that's cool. And I'm going to step back and use my Kimura have filled eyes and say that that's kind of deficit based, because Hartford loves. We are. There's someone who I'm working with, and lovely person, well-meaning person, ready to come into Hartford. And one of our first conversations, and I love meeting people where they are and growing and being, right. And one of our first conversations was, you know what, I've been working in Hartford, and now, I'm here a lot, and I'm going to move to Hartford, but, I love Hartford. Who would think it? Like, Hartford is a great place. There's great stuff going on in Hartford. Who would have known this?
You'd be surprised. Well, you wouldn't be surprised, but people would be surprised of how many people think that they have no idea of the richness of Hartford. And to me, that's like half to 3/4 of the problem. I understand the concept of love Hartford because it's out of the same basket of Hartford Has It and New England's Rising Star. They're trying to sell Hartford as a place. It's like you go to a super mall and find a city that you can go and play in. It's like a travel agent, and you pick this city off the shelf. Oh, this looks like a cool city. Let's go there and see what they have, what's there for me. Not necessarily what I can contribute to it. Not that people actually live there. It's like you get on a cruise ship, go to Jamaica, and like all of Jamaica's there to serve you. You got off the ship. I bless you with my presence. I'm gonna let you breathe the air I breathe. And so everyone in Jamaica is there to serve you, as opposed to you coming to visit and contribute. And I say that to say this: that Hartford has so much because of who Hartford is, and we have to value that first and foremost. You talk a little bit about, what does the community have that it owes one another, and those who represent it, what do they owe the community? Because if folk don't love Hartford, I mean, like, express love Hartford, express concern to Hartford, and see Hartford as something that has value. Not something that needs you, but has value. I think until that happens, we're not gonna start to move. Cleo, you said something about, I think that you and Kamara said something about having history. Like if you're trying to escape from somewhere and you have to run to get away from it, when you stop running, it catches you, or you don't have anywhere to go. So it seems to me the number one thing that people have to value, first and foremost. Now, I'm not telling people to be selfish, but you have to value yourself. And if you're afraid of who you are, or what you are, or what people think you are, it becomes very, very difficult. So people aren't taking drugs because they just want to be taking drugs. There's something is causing that, and there has to be enough caring to want to help people.
And I'm going to do a Kimura here. So I'm going to take a whole bunch of different things and bring it together and talk about the importance of centering ourselves in Hartford, centering Hartford. And in my work, inviting representatives from the different large organizations and agencies in Hartford who say that they're here to help us and support us. And we might not feel the same thing. And there's internalized racism, there's internalized homophobia, there's internalized all types of hatreds, and isms. And in Hartford, there's a lot of that that's given to us by those who are here to supposedly help us. And as a city with a lot of large organizations that are healthcare organizations, and different helping type organizations, it's really easy to live here and believe that they're here contributing to our quality of life while missing where it's diminishing. And so right now, parking is an issue, and parking is an issue in all cities everywhere. And Hartford Hospital is a huge conglomerate that takes up a lot of space in Hartford, serving a state and a region, not particularly serving the neighborhoods and communities right around it. And it takes up a lot of space and uses a lot of resources. And they're getting ready to build a huge parking garage on Lincoln Street, which is a residential street, a very small, congested residential street.
Right, 900 cars.
It's got more traffic than it can handle. It's about to get more traffic than it can handle. And there are human beings and residents who live there, people who own their houses and have owned their houses forever. And you tell me what the resale value is for a house on Lincoln Street, especially as this parking garage is going there. And renters who are, living in rental apartments in Hartford right now is a little bit tenuous. But our work at that labyrinth is created to invite people from Hartford Hospital over, like, dude, got it. The plans are made. This parking garage is going in. The concession to the community is that there's going to be green space on top, and that's going to serve the community. So, okay, I need you, Hartford Hospital administrator, who says this is a good thing for Hartford, to walk the labyrinth with someone who lives on Lincoln Street in Hartford, with the statement being, this parking garage serves Hartford well. Walk the labyrinth and then have the conversation afterwards. And that conversation gets to a place where, okay, this parking garage is here, but going forward, please. And I am comfortable in the going forward place. I understand there's a lot of change that needs to happen now. I want change to happen. I've been screaming about change I am 51. I've been screaming about change for 49 years. And part of it, I think, is age. And then another piece is watching wonderful, beautiful, well-minded, well-meaning people create change in the now that leads to even more horrible quagmires in the future. And places where, when the well-meaning thing is done, even though we understand, many of us know that well-meaning thing isn't what we need, we say, yes, this is good, and allow that to live. And so what we're doing is, like, we understand we can't change the bad, but can we stop pretending that it's good so that we can do better going forward? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Thank you.
It makes a lot of sense to me. We have so many organizations that do the same thing that won't come together to really help the people, to help people that they say they want to help. It seems that those people who come into Hartford, or even Hartford organizations, it always turns out that at the beginning it's helping the people and being concerned, but it's going to turn around, and I've seen it many times, turn around to, we got to stay alive. We got to feed this machine. We got to do it, and the people are sort of forgotten. But the people also allow it because we look at these people as though they don't work for us, that we are not the boss. We are the boss. They are not the bosses. We are the bosses. But we look at them as though they can do anything they want to us. And there was another point, to contribute. There are people who come into Hartford, who come into the United States, who start businesses, who do all of these things, and they're not thinking about the neighborhood. A lot of them, some of them might, a lot of them, and contribute nothing. And then not even appreciative. I would even be glad and happy if they were just appreciative that they were able to start a business. They were able to go on with their lives, to be grateful to Hartford, to be grateful to the United States of America that they were able to do that. Not to turn around and start this racism crap. I'm better than you. You're better than me. How many times have you heard? I know I have heard it many times. I just don't like black people. And I'm standing in front of a black person saying that to me. You know, who comes from somewhere else. Or, you know, what are you people? I don't like these people. You have come into the country with nothing. You have built yourself up, which is wonderful, because they have a mindset. They came from somewhere they don't want to ever go back to, and they're going to work harder than we ever thought of working to get somewhere, and I understand that.
They've also been conditioned differently, you know, so a big part of my work, when I say we're Black, queer, Afrocentric, and we've got, when you get to Sterling Street, you'll see the Heritage Garden, which is kale, collards, and callaloo. I will tell you that our way of dealing with colonialism, with white folks, with the system, with professionalism, is determined by our boat stops and how enslavement affected us. And there's a difference, you know, us as Hartford Black people in a northern city, enslavement affected us differently than Black folks down south. But there's all these interesting things that happen where we can't address it. This morning, I was listening to a lecture, and it was a conversation between white people about race and racism. And the interesting thing was the immigrant who was white-skinned but still had an accent. His defense of anti-Blackness in all the interesting ways was exactly what an immigrant's defense of anti-Blackness is supposed to be, because there's a thing that we don't talk about in the immigrant experience. America was built on anti-Blackness enslavement. It was built on it. And the way to step into America is to step into whiteness. So you had all these people who were not white. And when we hear people who look like us talk about us, there's internalized racism that comes from living here. But then there's that other piece of, in America, you're better than Black Americans. And as long as you're better than Black Americans, you've got a chance at the American dream. And there are so many actual, very real, true examples of that. And places when we talk about systemic racism where that's built into America and built into the fabric of Connecticut. Those are the lessons that we teach at Sterling Street. Those are the lessons that we teach at Camorra's Cultural Corner, so that when we're in spaces, and we're in spaces where people are practicing that very special, you know what? We're going to make sure that people in the North End can experience success the same way people in the South End did. Boy, did I use some veiled racist language there. But we understand that for some reason, immigrants are better at starting small businesses and keeping them going than people in the North End, than the Black people. There's a lot that's written in there. And there are very real systemic reasons why that is. And as Black people, there's a whole lot of us who try to educate and nice our way out of Blackness with this idea that if somehow we are better than the average typical garden variety Black person, we're going to be able to attain what whiteness has. And the sad truth is there's a cultural piece. So many of us can do that, and it hurts all of us. And what we ask people to do is take a step back and look at what values are there, look at what the culture is there, and how do we affect it and not dance in those places.
People can get in touch with you how?
Oh, you can get in touch with me. So I've got my website, www.camorrasculturalcorner.com. And there, you can just click on contact me, and you and I can have a 30-minute Zoom conversation for free. That just happens, right? So you can just do that. If you support me on Patreon, anyone who supports me on Patreon, know that you are paying for people to just call and have 30-minute conversations with me. You can also get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Camorra's Cultural Corner, Camorra Harrington on Facebook. And you can really show up. So April 22nd, April 23rd, please, the tickets are on Eventbrite. It is free to come both days. They're volunteer days. Saturday, April 22nd, we're going to be at the Keeney Park Pond House from 10:30 to 4:30. And then on Sunday the 23rd and Sunday the 23rd from noon to 3, we're going to have the Hartford Love Your Block trailer. And I need people, I need bodies to come help me clean up, move dirt so that we can use the space and have the conversations and communications that we need to have so that we can grow.
22nd and 23rd?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, will you come back?
I would love to come back.
All right, because we have to continue this conversation. This is more than you can do in 20 minutes. So we have to have her come back and be more regular.
I would say at least twice a week. I have y'all on as I'm running around the house doing stuff, and I'm talking back to y'all. You can't hear me, but I'm running my mouth with you.
All right, well then you need to just join us and so we can hear you talk about, because yeah. So we have to talk. All right, Kimora Harrington.
Have a beautiful Easter weekend. Thank you.
All right, you too.
It's wonderful talking to you. You have a great rest of the day.
Chloe, thank you so much. Peace. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye now. All right, one of my favorite human beings, Kimora Harrington. Stick and Stay will be right back, my friends. It is Morning Talk.
Are you ready? Coming Friday, May 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. is the Season 1 finale of Hartford's Got Talent at the famous Bushnell Theater in Hartford, Connecticut. Talent of all ages compete for $15,000 in cash prizes and awards. Don't miss it. Hartford's Got Talent, Friday, May 5th at the Bushnell in Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford's Got Talent, showcasing talent and connecting community. For more information, visit www.hartfordsgottalent.org.
How do you define evil? Is evil the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they were elected to fight for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. Nowhere does this rule apply more than during an election for mayor. Choosing a candidate who is the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for the constituents to flip the script and vote for a mayor you can trust. My name is Jason McCauley. I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor for the city of Hartford. I, like you, am an independent thinker. So let's sit down and talk about my path to victory and why my 5-point plan for Hartford will work. Stop listening to the uninformed evil interests that tell you I can't win. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience. Vote for the name you trust and know. Vote McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, welcome back. Morning Talk. J.C. McCauley here, along with the champions of talk. Cleo Duke-Wright is in Studio 1A this morning. So onward we press with the conversation. Kimora Harrington. Now, she's going to come back, and we'll unpack more of that conversation, because that's a needful conversation to have.
I'm going to really try to be there on the 22nd. see that I heard about that place on Sterling Street, but I've never been there.
It is a super cool place. I taped an event there that was really, really, really good. I was reading the paper in the morning, and the Current had an article, and it was a series, like they were like monologues, and they were all women, and we were talking about experiences. We've aired it here, but it's really good. It's really good, but it's a kind of it's a really cool place. And it's, once you go in there, you forget that you're
in Hartford.
Yeah. You forget your
place.
You forget it. Yeah, it's like you're on in a place removed. I won't say that it's not. It's a place that's not like Hartford, because I think people say that because they have a preconception of what Hartford is, and so it is Hartford. It's in Hartford. Hartford has lots of those kinds of spaces, but most people don't get to go into those spaces, the gardens, the wooded areas.
With that comment, I didn't mean, I said Hartford, but I meant a space removed.
Yes.
A space removed, like the little room in my house there. When I close the doors, I'm just in that space. I'm just in that area that all by myself.
Your space.
I have a space, and when I close the door, my books surround me. I got my little desk. I got my praying stool and my podium, and with my Bible on it. You know, I got Jesus hanging up there, and it's a special place. And when I close the doors, it just you know, I'm in there, and it's wonderful. So I'm thinking that that's the same kind of everyone should have a space. As you were talking, I'm thinking to myself, you know, everyone in our house has a space, and there's space. Clearly, my space is where we are now, but my wife actually has two spaces. There's the space outside this office that's kind of like her space, where it's kind of like her office, if you will. My daughter's space is that back corner where she sits and runs the world from there. Nia's space is everyone else's space, because she doesn't like being by herself. She considers being by herself being alone, so she has to be with someone else. Jalan's space was his room, and that's it. But everybody has their own space. My wife has two spaces. She has a space in our bedroom. She has this chaise lounge. That's her space. But that's her space. I mean, it is her space from like 10 to midnight. That's her space. So like, if I come up there, she's like, "What are you doing over here?" Like I'm invading her space, because I'm never up there at that time. I'm always down here in my studio. Always in my studio. That's, this is the first time in many, many years that I had a space. I'm always surrounded. I'm always surrounded. And if I try to get a space, there's someone that comes and interrupts me or comes in. But my bookstore was a space until my husband would barge in, uninvited.
Cleo.
Yeah, but this space is really my space. My son goes in there. He goes in there and he sits down, and he seems so comfortable. He closes the door, and he seems comfortable in that space. But that's my space. So,
you got to now. You got to own your space, because if you don't own your space,
that's right,
someone else will come in and take it over.
So I go in there and I close the door, it's so peaceful. It's so wonderful to have a space. I get excited when I go in there. Even my husband doesn't really come in there. You know, when the doors are closed, and we've only been there a week. When the doors are closed, nobody comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell him that, but nobody comes in. They may call me from the outside, but they don't come in. You know, so it's nice. It's nice to have a little space. My husband's always had a space. He's always had the bedroom. He's always, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had a space, and I thank God that I have a space.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think it's important for people to have space.
Yes.
To have their own space. If you have space, put in the chat, yes, if you have your own space. I think it's important to have a space, a place where you can go, reflect. I think my second space is the kitchen.
Oh,
My second space is the kitchen. Between I'd say my second space is the kitchen between the hours of anywhere from like 10:30 to midnight is my space.
Oh, I wish that were true with me.
And if people come in there between 10 and midnight, I'm a little what? You know, why are you here? Because I eat, bake stuff.
Oh, I would love to. I used to have a time in the kitchen when I was at the other place but whenever I'm in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
my husband's in the kitchen. I go out of the kitchen, he may come back in the kitchen, but he stays in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I scream, "What are you doing here? Why are you in there? We have such a little kitchen. I've never seen a kitchen that small in my life."
Do you talk about the new kitchen?
The new kitchen. So
It's big enough for a stove.
it's some counter space. So we're in there together. That is too small for us to be in there together. But if I go in there, he'll go in there.
Mm-hmm.
He
likes to be around you.
all the time. All the time. You know, I just realized. I just realized that. I just realized the change when I'm with him or we go out.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized how happy he gets, and we go here, we go there, we go out to lunch, and when because he had like the bedroom, and I'd sleep in this other room, just because of space, and so now we're in the same room. Oh my gosh, what a difference! What a difference in his attitude. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize it made that much difference. I know you think that sounds dumb, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sounds like me. I like to be around Naisha, so she can't never have no space. Because everyone's in her space. You know, mom, I think mom is the center of the world. So mom, you know, kids want to be around mom. The husband wants to be around mom. Mom's friends want to be around mom. Mom. You know, everybody's calling on mom. It must be, you know, it's part of, I guess, being a mom. So I guess moms just deal with it. But, you know, it's like everyone wants to be around. I don't know how moms get anything done.
And you can't take that, you can't make that go away. You know, because it even says that scripturally about moms. I mean, women. They're the relationships.
Yeah.
They're the relationship in the group.
Yes.
Is the mom. It says that in scripture. So, you know, gosh, that is so true. Everybody wants to be around mom. Everybody wants to be around mom. And I'm looking at families. I'm looking at different families, you know. And as I'm realizing, wow. Because I used to go do my own thing and do this and do that. I'm not really paying attention, although sometimes you're around me so much you annoy me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, but then, but if you have to stop, something stops you, and you're looking around, and you say, "Oh my goodness," and then you start looking at other families. You say, "Oh my goodness." It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same. Everybody wants. It's for the family group. The family. Mom is the center.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think now there's a lot of men that want to, like, the man is that quote unquote the man ahead of the family, but the man's primary job is to protect the mom.
Right.
And it's really the mom that is the center of the family.
And relationships stem out from her.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess it's I really never had anybody pay that much attention to me. At least I never thought.
Well, you may not think everyone's paying attention to you, but if you start really thinking back, mom, yeah. Cleo, mom. So they're all paying attention. Everyone is ever present of where mom is, or everyone's ever aware of where mom is present.
But when my husband was well, when he had his health, he was always out there going on. I just did my own thing. He didn't pay attention to me. So, he was always doing his own thing. So this is a whole new thing for me as he's paying. What do you want me to do when you're gone? Are you leaving me again? I'm saying, whoa. So, but I'm getting used to it, and I'm not getting so irritated with it because I know this is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I gave him a few chores to do and while I was gone, because he wants to be helpful. Mm-hmm. Because he's not as active as he used to be. He wants to be helpful. Then he gets upset if I work and work and work, and he sees that I'm tired. It upsets him. Mm-hmm. Well, I never upset you before. What you doing now? But see, nobody's ever paid that much attention to me. So it's all new. So I have to slow down and pay attention to what he's saying to me, and say, okay, let's do this. Okay. So this is a new phase in my life. Mm-hmm. So I have to be a mom and a companion as I really look at it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has to come up front. It never was up front before. So now it's up front, and I have to pay attention to it. It's not bad. I mean, I don't hate it or anything, but it's new. It's just new. Yeah.
I'm looking over here at my master clock. At my clock, everything on television. Well, everything on TV does run by time, but radio is even more time bound. The clock. Everything is the clock. Everything is the clock. So I'm always looking at clocks.
How are we doing with the time?
Oh, we're doing fine.
Oh,
we're doing fine. But there's things on the timeline. Because the timeline there's a timeline that's playing from the beginning of the program to the end of the program. There's a clock and it moves. I could see it moving as to what's coming up next, and sometimes it gets away from me.
You used to get away from us. We would not even do a commercial.
Yeah,
go all the way through.
Right. That clock has been here since day one, and most of the times I blow past the commercials.
Yeah,
because we don't really need them. They're just there for to add, variety and kind. But we just talk right through the commercials. I'm trying to be more disciplined.
Well, just like I'm trying to be more organized. I really am. I do have to say, though, that I really loved this young woman's, her name escapes me.
Oh, Kamora.
Mm-hmm. I really loved her enthusiasm because I could remember when I had that enthusiasm about the things that I did. And I'm looking at her, I'm saying, boy, it goes, there's always someone with that enthusiasm who wants to improve things, who works toward that. I did it in a different way when I was younger, and I'm looking at it and said, wow, I can see that same kind of drive. And I said, so I'm gonna have to get involved because I don't know what I could do, but
it's fun to have that kind of
that I could see. It brings excitement to me because I can remember that. I can remember the excitement I had when we were developing Center for Hope, and I was working with homeless people. And the thing that's really wonderful is that the people she serves will know she loves them. Mm-hmm. They will automatically know that she loves them. Because I can remember, and I've told you this before, kicking out somebody, and the only time I had to do it for the safety of the group, and I told him don't come back. Of course, he did eventually before he died. Mm-hmm. But and someone standing next to me saying, "But now who's gonna love him?" Mm-hmm. And I never thought about people like they thought I loved them, and I did love them, but they knew that they instinctively knew that I was gonna do whatever I could do to help them. And I think that this woman has that.
She does. She has a genuine desire to help people. The word says, "Oh, no man but to love him."
To love him.
And so the real outward manifestation of the inward dwelling of the Spirit of the Lord is love. Do you agape love people? Do you demonstrate love? Not what am I going to get in exchange for this?
Right.
But one way love that if you don't never give it back, that's fine. It's like pouring water out of a glass. The water's not coming back. It's being poured out. And so that's what we don't have. We don't have that capacity. We have judgment. We have self as a standard. You don't meet my standards, so therefore you're beneath me. And people don't even look down on you. They look over their shoulder at you. That. Yes. I don't even turn to look down at you. Just that kind of a. So like, and then this kind of, she was talking a little bit about the situation with Hartford Hospital with this 900 car garage. That's 900 spaces for which they can make money from.
And not thinking about.
They don't think about the
people in that neighborhood. If they were going to plan a garage or plan something, I don't know if they did or not. But they need to involve the people in the neighborhood where they're going to be, the people that this garage is going to affect their lives. That's
contrary to them having their way, because every person in the neighborhood is a source of opposition. So let's just leave the neighborhood out. Ultimately that's we know that's what happens, because the end result is the neighborhood finds out about this. And there it is. So you get 900. But the thing is that the land you're on becomes a resource for somebody else. And I want it. When the state wants your land, they take it by eminent domain. Oh, we need this for what? The highway. What highway? Well, we're going to put a highway through here because, we determined in the
they did in 84 when they built 84.
Right. Yeah. We need a highway. We're going to cut the city in half. Oh, now we're going to get rid of the highway. We're going to drop the highway. Oh, now we need a tunnel. So let's put the tunnel in. It's what someone else wants, needs, or can profit from.
But whatever they need.
At your expense.
Whatever they need to involve the people that are associated with what they're going to do.
I I was retained to do the I-84 project, record and disseminate the information. And so they're all on there. If you go to accesstv.org, I-84 project, you'll see all of the videos. They're on YouTube until the YouTube stops functioning. And they're like quarterly meetings where they involve the community.
Mm-hmm.
The community had input. The community had buy-in. People were there. The truckers were there. People from different towns were there. Sadly, Hartford seemed to always be missing. But the people from over in Frog Hollow, they participated quite a bit. Lots of people would come from all over the region, different mayors representatives, select people. I mean, just and this went on for a couple of years as they were getting ready to work on the I-84 project. You know what to do with it.
And that split the city in half. The I-84.
Yes, but they want to lower it to street level or bring it down so you don't see it, but it's there, or put covers over some of it. And one of the last meetings, it was either the last meeting or second to the last, maybe third to the last. But what put an end to those meetings was Congressman Larson. Congressman Larson came in and he had this idea for a tunnel. I'll never forget it. They gave him the floor to speak because of his station in life being a congressman. And so when a congressman comes into a meeting like that, it's a state thing. Everybody they yield to the chair. I don't mean like the chairman, but the seat he sits in is the seat that has the power. And he went into full Larson mode. I remember, you know how John is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's like, he's standing on a bridge preaching to the people below him. I have a vision and we're going to do great things here in Harvey. All that kind of stuff. Okay, calm down, John. We hear you. We see you. Can't help. The ghost of Kennedy. Nonetheless, he starts talking about this tunnel. That blew everything up. It just shut it down because, it just shut it down. That was it. After that, it was it. Now the community's not chiming in.
Okay, now let me understand this. The congressman comes in. He obviously is making a suggestion. So all other talks about I-84 went south because of what he said, and they did what he said, and what he said came to pass.
What he said didn't come to pass.
Did not come to pass.
What he said was a suggestion. The Connecticut Department of Transportation is working on lowering the highway, and that project is going to be cost out. The engineers are working on it, debating about how it should be, what's going to be the result of working on the highway. You have to shut the highway down, or portions of it. That means you have to have alternate routes of transportation. You've got the fast track that can help bring people from point A to point B. As the highway diminishes, you still have people. How's this going to affect interstate transportation, trucks, all this other stuff? The congestion on the highway, people getting on the highway to get off the highway. So you're going to go from Sigourney Street to Walmart. You jump on the highway just to do a short run. You could take the city street to do that. So that causes congestion on the highway. So this study was going on to figure out how do we reduce the congestion? How do we strengthen the highway? Its lifespan is starting, its life expectancy is starting to be reached. And all of this requires money. The state doesn't have the money, so ultimately this money is going to come from the federal government. Here comes a U.S. congressman talking about a tunnel, and the tunnel's going to cost $5 billion. Well, once the tunnel is introduced, now everything stops because, if he's serious about this tunnel, We're wasting our time on this and what we're doing. So we need to rethink this. So everyone has to stop, to reset, to consider, what do we do if we have a highway? And his suggestion was that this is something that is not only possible, but is likely. With infrastructure money coming, and then you have people like Buttigieg that was elected. So all of this stuff was before Buttigieg was even in the mix. Mm-hmm. So when these decisions are made, they're not made in a vacuum. They're made way, way at the high levels by people elected to office that have the power to do whatever they want. So these decisions are not necessarily made by people on the ground. The people on the ground are molded, shaped, consoled, all these things that they do to get you to buy in. But you're not going to stop the project. So when they roll these things out, it's coming. And if you're an impediment, like a mayor or first selectman or somebody that's been elected, they'll just elect someone else around you. Out, take your power away. So go from strong mayor to weak mayor. So they're going to impose their will on you.
Their will, no matter what you do.
Right, and that becomes very effective when cities and towns have nothing to contribute except a hand out asking for something. Because now you become very malleable. You'll do whatever is necessary. Mm-hmm. So the necessity of community buying into and contributing their voice cannot be understated. But a lot of times people in the community don't understand that starts with them. It starts at the local. All politics is local. Right down to your town committee. Right down to your neighborhood watch. That's where the real power is. That's where the real energy and effort is. So this excitement that you're talking about is essential because it sparks community involvement and the community growth. And then the community starts to get involved in their city council, in their boards of education. And they go to meetings like the I-84 project. So the absence of people in these projects speaks louder than their presence. Because where they are absent, you have a road through there. They don't care enough to be involved because they're either caught up in other things, they're in their survival mode. So always listen to what's not. It sounds counterproductive, but always listen to what's not being said. You can find out more from what's not being said than what they're saying. It's like reading tea leaves, but if you read enough books, you know what the potential outcome is. So, yeah, that garage is there. They ain't thinking about those people. They're not thinking about it. Well, this is good for Hartford. They're leaving out the last. There's a 2 words in that phrase. Hospital. They're thinking about Hartford. Hospital. There you go. Hartford Children's Center. There you go. Get the rest of the phrase out. Mm-hmm. And Harvard's Children's Center does great work. But that does not mean you get a pass and throw up a 900-car garage. That has nothing to do with your great work. It has everything to do with making money off the cars. And someone's going to make money. Even if the people there park for free, then the state is paying them. Because they're going to make money off the parking.
And what street is this again?
This is on Lincoln Street, I think, over by off of right off Capitol Avenue.
Oh, so where are these 900 people coming from?
Patients, employees, all kinds of folk that are going to be going to the Harvard Children's Center and Harvard Hospital Complex. They will park in that 900-car garage. They build residence for 900 cars, but not people. We all know that cars are more important than people, right? Let me stop. Let me stop. All right, it's time for a shameless self-hype. Shh, that's what we used to call it on the radio. Shameless self-hype Yeah. Stick and stay, don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
You know something? Hartford's strength is the people. They're independent thinkers and love their city. So how did Hartford fall into the hands of rogue policymakers? Well, to start, this rogue group spent nearly $1 million putting themselves on the inside and leaving you out in the cold. What if I told you that $5 can be the difference between a Hartford with hope and vision or a Hartford that is in perpetual decline, increasing crime, and an educational system going nowhere fast? Your $5 contribution to our team is a statement that you are investing in Hartford's future. Your $5 contribution to McCauley for mayor will make you a member of the team, and together we will explore the possibilities. More than that, you will be demonstrating that Hartford's people are ready to make a stand. Withstand. Our goal is to get the support of 5,000 people who live, work, and play in Hartford. I'm asking you to make a bold statement by contributing $5 right now, today. If you believe in Hartford and its people like I do, make that contribution. And together we will show Connecticut that the people of Hartford care enough to do our part. We are ready to pick up the ball and run. The people of Hartford are back in the game, and we're in it to win. My name is J. Sam McCauley, and I approve this message.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh yeah.
So what's Eric doing?
We were live.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Eric LaSalle is down at the he's down at city clerk's office. Yeah. So there we go. Lazoo. I was gonna call him LaSalle. Confusing him with Eric LaSalle. Eric Lazoo. That's Jay Hogarth. That album is so great. One day I'm gonna have Jay come in.
Oh, that would be nice.
And we're gonna play several songs off the album and talk to him about what is, the expression and just music and the language of music and the importance of music and the arts and all of that kind of stuff.
He's in Hartford. I mean, he's in Connecticut.
He's in Connecticut. He's in Middletown. Yeah, he's at Wesleyan. He's the professor. He's the head of the music department. He's the Jackie McLean of Wesleyan. Yeah. dynamite dude. So I'm gonna talk to him and see if we can get him to come in and do any deep to talk to too.
Do the what?
Deep to talk to.
Deep?
Deep.
Oh, deep.
Deep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That
The
might
head
be
is deep. You know.
Yeah. I got it.
yeah. Sad thing about the garage is that when you have sick family members, to visit them costs a lot of money. Say you visit your loved one once a week, or visit them for a week because you want to, stay with them. So for days, weeks, no compensation in New Britain. Hospital parking is free. That's a blessing to the family. So in New Britain, you go to the hospital, you just park. It's free. Now someone in Hartford, like the garage, watch. What'll probably happen is you park in Hartford and there's some parking conglomerate like ProPark. Like my choice of parking garages. ProPark will probably get the contract for it. Or maybe somebody like Abe Giles.
Yeah.
You get the parking. Gotta take care of Abe. Stop, Stan. Stop.
Well, the truth is the light. That's right.
Yeah.
But how does New Britain get to
Your mic.
have it?
Bring
free?
your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. How does is that a caring for the people who need to go and visit their relatives, that not to burden them with parking, and I can only stay too long because I only got so much, and I got to get my car out of there because it's going to cost me too much to.
Rick, there's nothing more stressful than to be parked someplace and your parker's running out.
Yes.
You got to get out of the building, and then you just can't leave out the hospital. You gotta go down the hallway through security, take the elevator, then down there. You gotta decompress, you gotta de-sterilize and come out, and then you gotta come back in. And by the time you do all that, you don't want to feel like going back. And nothing heals better than love. So to have a loved one present as you're recovering, and nothing kills like the lack of love. So your loved ones are trapped outside. You can't even look at them in the window like they did during the global health initiative. You still got to be careful saying certain things on the internet, because the AI bots are always monitoring what you say. But during the global health initiative, where they kill all the old people, they wouldn't let loved ones see them.
That's right.
They're coming. It's horrible. There's a reckoning coming on that stuff because it was unnecessary. We know this for a fact now. It was unnecessary. They know they were doing, groping around in the dark, experimenting, and elected
With our
leaders
lives.
instead of health officials were making decisions.
Governors were making decisions.
Governors, and we all know that the governors are better equipped when it comes to medical decisions than health officials.
And why is it? Well, look, there's who's running the hospitals now? It's not the medical people.
Now, administrators. After all, you don't need to be a doctor to run a hospital, right?
No, you can just be a money man.
There you go.
Just be the money man. Don't.
All right, I am in a particularly prickly mood. I don't know why. I need to stop because I'll get
I
myself
remember
in
in
trouble.
Harvard Hospital was it in the 60s? No, it was in the 70s when administrators started coming in.
Mhm.
And I was working in the OR, and nurses ran the OR, doctors ran the OR, and then all of a sudden we had this administrator up there running the OR. It was horrible. It was horrible. I can't say horrible enough. It was horrible. Then they had another one that was just as horrible. I left soon after that, but it was horrible. And then in the nonprofits, Churches started these wonderful organizations for what purpose? To help the people. And then they get tired of whatever they get tired of, or whatever reason that they get tired. Then they go get the money people to run the organization, and everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
The love changes. Everything changes, and there is no more. I can't say no more love, but it's cold.
It is because it's
cold.
The
It becomes
love
cold.
of money becomes the apple of their eye becomes the dollar.
The dollar.
Instead of a patient that's recovered. Even if they say, well, look, there's no reason why we can't make money off of helping them. But once money becomes the objective.
And apparently it always does. It just seems like great things start, but it seems to me the majority of the time always turns out to be chasing the money.
Chasing the money. So you have to go to great lengths to make sure that there's a balance. You need tools to get the job done.
Right.
Money is a tool. It's a resource. That's all it is. When it becomes more than that, then it becomes something that people lust after. And then money becomes a deity. They turn money into a deity. And we must have money. Well, look at the money that we can make. And then money turns into power. And then with that kind of resource you can basically do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I don't,
because people want
to
be greedy. Greedy.
Greed just sort of comes in there and destroys.
Right. Greed.
Destroys.
Greed. Money, power.
And why we have this so much regard or so much respect for people in industry, people who, I don't want to say any particular name, but these organizations and these corporations, why do we revere them so much? If I'm a nonprofit and I started a nonprofit, why do I want them to come in and run it? They haven't done anything that they should run it, except that they have money. They get on the boards.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to raise some money for something. All right, go get them to help you raise the money. Make no decisions on what happens in your program or what happens with your people. They're money people. Let them raise money, but don't let them make any decisions on what happens with your organization.
Well, see, I just have this. I have a I don't know whether it's love or hate, somewhere in there. I'm trying to find the right word to express the level of disdain I have for boards of nonprofits. It just goes back. So, if you have a vision that's going to help people, then just do it. Do it. If you have to, then make it an LLC or something like that. Don't do the nonprofit board, because once you have a nonprofit board, then it stops being your vision. It becomes their vision. Mm-hmm. And then, depending upon what it is that your vision was or what you're doing, the board could remove you. Particularly if what you're doing becomes a threat to any particular power group or status quo. They'll take over your board, and then you're done. So I would never have an organization that was a 501c3 under any circumstance.
People don't understand that.
You couldn't give it to me.
That's it.
funded fully. You just couldn't. I would never, never, ever, 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 ever.
Any part of a 501c3?
No.
Either would I. Either would I.
Mm-mm.
I've seen the destruction.
Oh yeah.
Neither would I. Would never do that. People ask me to help them do that. Of course, I've never really done it. I don't know why they think that I could, but I wouldn't help anybody do that. And I told a church one time that I used to belong to, I'm not having any part of a 501c3. None. You want to do it, but not.
I'll help you do it, but I'm not going to help you with no.
Not that. They don't know what a bind they're putting themselves into, and how. That's hush money. Hush. That's to me. That's hush money.
But it's the word jaded. Is that the right word? Jaded.
That's a good.
Yeah.
word.
Can you tell that we're jaded? Yeah. What you need to do if you're thinking about finding a 501c3, find some people who have been with them where it didn't turn out so well. Then decide whether or not this is something you want to do. If you've got good people, honest people, right people, and the good governance in place, then you could take that, because there are some good 501c3s. Don't get us wrong, but the potential for massive destruction and undermining is ever present. And if you don't have the right people in place and good governance,
and it should never, my personal opinion, a church should never be a 501c3.
I'm right there with you.
Never.
Absolutely. Churches in the state of Connecticut are non-taxed, period. You don't have to be a 501c3 to be non-taxed. The fact that you're a religious organization makes you non-taxed.
501c3s
501c3
bring in money. That if a church is gonna, that's what it brings in. They have us. They organize something. They create it to bring in money.
Right.
So then you are so limited.
Absolutely.
To what you can do
and say.
And so if you say the wrong thing, zoop.
Yep. Yeah, church. So, now that gets into a whole nother level of discussions. Like, should a church even think to be a 501c3? Who are they relying on for their sustenance? The government?
I don't know.
Greater is he that's in you than he is in the world. That the church should be able to. The church should be self-sustaining.
That's right.
Self-educating, self-belief. Now, there's supposed to be a community. A lot of churches are in the hand of government.
Yeah.
And once you become a 501c3, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't cut the top of your head off.
That's right. You're only in the hands of the Lord. If you can't just be that, you can't be in the hands of two people. It's two things.
Can't serve two masters.
That's right. And you're thinking of the days in the 60s and late 60s when Martin Luther King was marching and all of that, and churches openly came out. Now churches are almost silent.
They're scared to speak up.
That's right, because they're going to lose their 501c3. They won't get that money.
Look at the pandemic. Churches was quiet as a mouse. Church mouse. They wouldn't speak up about certain things, and the ones that did, they shut them down. And the carnage now is unbelievable. A lot's not said about the damage done to bad decisions.
Talk about a little bit about what you know, Stan, about the damage that it actually did of the pandemic. I know educators are really talking about the damage it did to children.
It's done irreparable damage in many areas. It has caused people to stop talking, to stop communicating. Education has been damaged. Not needless to say, the economy and business has been damaged.
Oh, yes.
It's like trying to kill a fly with a shotgun. and he's moving around your house. You're shooting at him, shooting holes in the wall, all kinds of stuff.
Did you think they had any idea that? I don't think they really had any idea that this would become what it has become. That it would have done the damage that it has done.
Well, there's a lot of damage done, and if you go back in time and look at the one in with 1918 or 18, the past, you can see how little towns get very closed off, like you're not from here, because you could be sick. And so there's still people that are very concerned about being in other people's presence because they just don't.
Yes.
They don't know. They don't. There's this whole trust factor, and people coming together again. And are you safe to be around? And this whole very. The world has changed.
Yes.
And I don't know that it's necessarily for the good.
I was standing next to a friend, and she had a mask on, and I didn't realize how close I was to her. And she said, "Oh no," she said, I'm just out here. I've been in the house. I'm just out here for get a little shopping done, and then I'm going back in the house. I'm in my 70s. I can't stay. I can't stay out here." She didn't want to catch anything.
A lot of churches have not recovered because they shut down, did remote, and then when they opened back up, people didn't come back to them because they're afraid to be in the company of other people because they just don't know. So in time things will rebound, but there's this whole sense of not trusting
and don't cough.
You get jacked up, you start coughing badly.
I had a tickle in my throat, and I couldn't get it out.
Stand in line up at Walmart and start coughing. Excuse folks.
They've stopped backing up, yes.
All right. Well, our time together's come to an end, Miss Cleo.
Okay.
So, we gotta go. Special thanks to our guest, Kamora Harrington. She's doing great things over there. You can check her out online. Go to Facebook. Just type her name in, and you'll come up with all that you need to know. And we'll have her back here more often. I want to explore the idea of cultural competency.
I have a book on
cultural competency, and the other stuff that she does.
Yeah,
it's I think that's something we should discuss. Yeah. All right. Any plans for the weekend?
Just more cleaning up, more straightening up of the house, and it's getting a little better now, and that's about it. Hopefully, I'll get to the meeting tomorrow if nothing happens.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Okay.
All right, my friends. Our time together has come to an end. We will see you next time. You all have a great rest of your day, and happy Resurrection Sunday. Bye-bye now.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley.
Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands-on access. With a light source vision, door-to-door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
My name is Marlon E. Styler Sr. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next smile, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the Man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.